So movement is such a large topic, and I often get a lot of questions about how much movement is appropriate, and especially when it comes to behaviors that your children might be having. So often we find, we have 5 kids, we find that when things get a little crazy, it's often because we haven't had a lot of movement in their life. So we want to make sure that we have a considerable amount, and to sort of try to sort out how much a considerable amount is. A few years back, I was talking to a Waldorf teacher, and she said in a school, in the Waldorf school system, they strive to have a third of their day in movement. Now that's a lot of time. If you think about all your waking time, that might be, 4 more hours. And so really it's a lot more than just scooching your kids off to the backyard and saying, go play. It's about being really intentional about your movement. So that really should encompass a morning walk when possible. We try to do ours before our school day. And then possibly another walk in the afternoon, maybe after quiet time is over, and then sometimes another walk at dinner time. There are times like today we're enjoying a national park, which is right near our house. So we make like intentional time as a family to go on longer trips. We have a pass to an amusement park that we try to go to a couple of times a month that gives us, 8 miles in a day's stretch, or a national park or city park, anywhere where you can find ways to get that movement in, especially if you don't live in an area where you have a lot of neighborhood space. So we live in a condo, and we have to be very intentional about going out with the children instead of just sending them out. So if that's your reality, I want you to step back and think about, how can I intentionally make movement part of our everyday life? I know that it's a pain when you've got little ones and you've got to bundle them all up, especially if it's really cold out. But even when we lived in Idaho, we lived in southeast Idaho, which is just below Yellowstone National Park and the Grand Tetons. It was very cold. The entire month of January was usually below zero. We still bundled them all up and went on walks every day. And that's really just to sort of get that movement piece going, to keep the air in their lungs, and to really sort of get those crazies that sort of build up on children, and us too, so that we can sort of breathe out a little bit and get out in nature. So as they get older, they're probably going to be in a space where they're not wanting the park so much. We're sort of in that spot right now where we've got a child that's a teenager and still one that's younger, and she loves the park, and the park really feeds her. She loves to go and climb and really have a good time at the parks. But when it comes to our older son, he needs more directed activity. So when they were really young, they started with karate, and that's something that they do 3 times a week. And they are very, not very competitive, but very involved in the good benefits that come from learning a disciplined skill. So if your child's not into a sport, I would definitely not consider something that was competitive until after age 9. But before that, they could do something like gymnastics or karate, or something that gives them that extra movement during the week and sort of takes you off the hook just a little bit. So I hope that helps. I hope that you can glean from this the understanding of why it's important to have movement. And I hope that perhaps it's given you some ideas on some things that you can do within your home. See y'all later. Bye.